Okay. I'll do a book review, but I gotta make this quick. I'm 20,000 words into my novel and I still have not located a plot. Characters are floundering through their tale. The author they're in search of is an epic fail. I have to resist with all of my... Review the book, Matt. So the next few books on my favorites list are going to be one of my favorite genres of literature, fairy tale adaptations. As it happens, my NaNoWriMo novel itself is an adaptation of The Little Mermaid. This Little Mermaid, not This Little Mermaid. Because I hate This Little Mermaid, with the fiery passion of 1,000 suns. But I've always kind of been fascinated by folk tales and fairy tales and these ancient stories that modern authors are somehow able to breathe new life into. I like stories that portray characters as real people, that present more plausible situations than we would see in the original fairy tales, and that draw comparisons and make implications about modern problems. Today's story, Zell, by Donna Jo Napoli, does all three. Zell is an adaptation of the story Rapunzel. Zell, Rapunzel, you get the idea. It's one of my favorite fairy tale adaptations, obviously it's on the favorites list, and it's the best adaptation of this particular story that I've ever read. The story follows three characters from the original fairy tale. You've got Zell, who is Rapunzel, a young, precocious girl who is under the thumb of her overprotective mother. Count Conrad, who sees Zell in the marketplace one day and falls in love with her, rather sporadically. And Zell's mother, referred to simply as Mother throughout the novel, who loves her daughter dearly and would do absolutely anything to keep her around. Now, the book is really not a love story between Zell and Conrad. Yes, they meet each other and they become infatuated with each other, and much of the plot circulates around them trying to find each other. But that's not really the focus of the story. The focus of the story is on the relationship between Zell and her mother. If you're at all familiar with the original story, then you know that Zell's mother, the woman that she called Mother, was a witch who kept her trapped in a tower. So, you know, the bad guy. But this book puts kind of a different spin on this particular character. The mother in this story is not an evil witch, she's not the devil incarnate, she is a mother. It's clear that she has a great deal of love for her daughter, but the love for her daughter that she has becomes obsessive and unhealthy. Even though she's misguided and even though she's doing horrible things, she's still a sympathetic character because her motivation is that of love, however obsessive and unhealthy it might be. She's sympathetic also because we know this person. This is a familiar character. We've all met the overprotective mother who wants so desperately to keep the umbilical cord from being severed. This mother will go to whatever lengths are necessary to keep her daughter safe and sheltered, and really the story is her story. I mean, it's no accident that all of her segments are written in first person, whereas all of Zell's segments and Conrad's segments are written in third person. But the story is also, of course, about Zell, the daughter. And what we see in Zell is basically a typical adolescent girl. She starts off very happy and precocious and with a kind of a childlike wonder about the world around her. And the ironic thing is that was the way that she was raised, that was the way that Mother raised her, but that is also what leads her to rebel against her mother. It's the ultimate irony of parenthood, where the best way to raise your children is to get them to the point where they no longer need you. We see Zell begin to question her mother, and of course she becomes infatuated with Count Conrad. At which point Mother decides it's time to lock Zell in a tower, basically lie to her, say that there's an enemy after her, and lock her up in a tower so that she'll be safe. Zell spends a long time up in this tower, and this is where I really appreciate Donna Jo Napoli's writing. She doesn't shy away from the fact that this girl is trapped in this tower, and that this is likely to lead to a certain degree of madness. We see Zell start to go slowly insane as she is locked in this tower. And some of those scenes are painful to read, but at the same time, it is really uncompromising. This is kind of a sick idea, taking your child and locking her away in a tower. To say nothing of growing her hair to unnatural length and climbing up it every day. We see Zell going through pain, physical and emotional. And there's also one particular aspect of the story that I appreciate because it addresses an aspect of the original story that always kind of bugged me. Okay, I'm gonna destroy some of your childhoods here and tell you what you probably already knew to be true but never really thought about before. Rapunzel and the prince had sex in the tower. I mean, it says that the prince visited Rapunzel in the tower, then Rapunzel was banished to the desert where she bore twins. Where do you think the twins came from? In the original version of the story that the Grimm brothers put together, the implication that Rapunzel and the prince had sex in the tower was much stronger. The way that Rapunzel is found out is that she becomes pregnant, and she gets bigger, and her clothes don't fit anymore, and her mother figures out that, oh gosh, there was a man up here. And it's sheer innocence that does it. However, the Grimm brothers were a little bit squeamish about implying sex in their stories. And so in later editions of the story, and in the edition that survived until today, Rapunzel's mother finds out about the prince in a different manner. She finds out about the prince because one day, after the witch has climbed up Rapunzel's hair, Rapunzel says, "Gosh, Mom, you're a lot lighter than the prince." So yeah, in order to avoid the taboo of even implying that the two of them had sex in the tower, they made Rapunzel into a dingbat. Now what does this have to do with this book? Well, because of their treatment of this particular aspect of the story. She becomes so fed up with her mother's antics and so rebellious against her mother that she just flat out says, "Mom, I had a guy up here." It's a proud moment of rebellion, and okay, maybe a stupid moment of rebellion, but still a proud moment of adolescent rebellion. And I appreciate that Napoli treated the character in this way and not as an absolute moron. So if you are at all interested in fairy tale adaptations and you like reading fairy tale adaptations, then I would suggest this book in particular by Donna Jo Napoli, but also many other works by Donna Jo Napoli. She does a lot of these types of stories, and her writing style is unique and very, very fun to read. But this one is by far my favorite. Zell by Donna Jo Napoli, still on the favorites list. And the next book on the favorites list, possibly one of the most famous recent fairy tale adaptations of all, Ella Enchanted by Gail Carson Levine. Now, back to that word count. I'll do a book review, but I gotta make this quick. Forgot what I was gonna say. Sorry.